guys, welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. I'm super excited to have you guys here. For everybody who is tuning in, who has been with me, I really appreciate you guys sticking around. I know I've been kind of inconsistent and not, dropping content as much as I should be, and I promise I'm going to change that. Today's episode is going to be about my health. And when I say health, I'm not talking about mental health today. I'm actually talking about my physical health. I wanted to do an episode to speak directly to my fellow diabetics. Hey guys. I'm super excited about this episode because I really want to be transparent in my journey with my health. I'm going to talk about diabetes, of course, but I'm also going to talk about some other health issues that I have and what I've been going through with that and how my physical health affects my mental health. Because I do want to be very transparent in saying that they collide. It is very important for us to take care of our physical health, and I really, want to emphasize the impact that has on your mental health. And I'm going to do a full episode at a later date on that. How our physical health impacts our mental health and different things we can do to keep both intact. And so I'm going to jump into my episode. So I have had type 1 diabetes for 23 years. I'm 26 years old. I've had it since I was 3. I don't know life without it. I actually vividly remember the day that I was diagnosed at 3, awkwardly enough. Yeah. So I've had it my whole life. As a child, it was like mortifying. Needles aren't fun. Anybody who's watching this, oh my gosh. So my friends from elementary school, Teresa Warner was having a birthday party. And I was in kindergarten. I'm like 5 years old. And at Teresa's birthday party, they had cake. So my teacher set me at a table by myself because I, wasn't allowed to eat the cake. And I was probably doing stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. And she probably didn't know what else to do. And so that was my first time dealing with, my diabetes outcasting me. And as a kid, I remember so vividly that moment, because it was like my first realization at in the public that I'm different than other people, and it was such a sad moment for me. Actually, dramatically enough, I cut off my ponytail. And I had it's funny now, in hindsight, but I remember my aunt coming to pick me up. My teacher literally handed my aunt my ponytail in a plastic bag, y'all. So my aunt, she cursed me out. But when I got home, they sat me down and they talked to me and asked me why I cut off my ponytail. And I told her. And she was just you can see her face change. Even as a 5-year-old, I can recognize, she did not know how to deal with this. This was heartbreaking to her. This moment was, heartbreaking to her. And she told me it was going to be okay. She told me, I'm going to go get my hair cut so we can even it out and it's going to be okay. End of it. That was the end of it. But it was such a monumental moment because it was like I said, it was the first time that I could identify with the fact that I'm different than everybody else. And as a kid, that is really hard. That is really hard because there's nothing that you want more than to identify with your friends. You are finding yourself, you're figuring out who you are, and you're just I want to be like everybody else. And that was a consistent theme throughout my struggle with diabetes and, my younger years. It was just me being different, me not being able to go to certain places, me having to go on field trips and the nurse come, me having to go to the nurse every day to get my blood sugar checked and my insulin before lunch, or, me, my sugar going low. at a party, or me having to be chaperoned by a parent to a school dance to make sure that an emergency didn't happen. It was just like, as a young person, I really struggle with that. And as an older person, I'm so blessed and grateful that I had those resources. I'm so blessed and grateful that I had parents to chaperone me, and I had, they were allowed the nurse to come on a field trip. They didn't like just say, oh, she can't go. It's such a blessing now, but as a child, it's devastating. I'm just so different, and I might not be able to go to slumber parties because my friends' parents don't know what to do if my sugar goes low, or they don't know how to say no to me eating certain things because my sugar could go high. And yeah, that was something I struggled with as a child. And later on, like in my teenage years, it was something that I embraced. It was kind of like this rebellion. Like that was my rebellious age of, I don't care. I'm going to the nurse. You know what? I'm out of class because my sugar's low. I'm late because my sugar's low. I started using it as an excuse. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm late. My sugar was low. Oh, yeah, I didn't make it this class. My sugar's low. You just start using it as an excuse. Diabetes becomes your get out of jail free card. And it's super humorous, but I want to get into the fact that as a teenager, with the rebellion also came a lot of rebellious habits. I really struggled with my mental health. I want to say from age probably like 9 to on. I did a lot of, I feel like I went through the stages of grief with my diabetes. I did a lot of bargaining with God. I'll be a good girl, I'll be a good kid if you take it away. I went through the questions of, why do I have it in the first place? What did I do? What did I do to deserve this? I went through the denial. Like, I don't even have it. And the denial was really, really, really bad for me because it aided in a lot of really unhealthy behaviors, like not taking my insulin, eating Snickers with no coverage, not checking my blood sugar, like really just terrible things. And these stages, that I went through, there was a lot of rebellion. There was a lot of non-compliance. There was a lot of just, I'm going to do what I want. I don't want this disease. I didn't ask for it, and I don't deserve it, and I'm not dealing with it. There was a lot of that, especially in my teenage years. And it led to a lot of really bad habits. It led to a lot of really bad decisions. I've seen plenty of hospitalizations, plenty of diabetic ketoacidosis, which for those of you who don't know is a diabetic coma. I have been in plenty of situations that really could have ended my life. And I put myself in those situations multiple times. And I feel like in hindsight, something that I recognized is that my mental health was a key factor in my behaviors. Like I said, I was going through the stages of grief with this diabetes, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't feel like I deserved to. I didn't feel like I had to. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want to deal with it. It was just heavy for me to be dealing with, especially at that age. And it is just like, now I realize how important that is, and I realize how common it is among a lot of people. I realize that the mental health component of chronic illnesses and different diseases that people deal with on a day-to-day basis, things that affect your life on a daily, things that affect the way you think, the decisions that you make, the situations that you put yourself in. These things, like, mental health is so major when it comes to that, and I feel like it's something that is not talked about enough, or I feel like it's something that is not addressed enough when it comes to these diagnoses, or when it comes to, doctors trying to get you adjusted and acclimated to having these things. And, I figured that out a long time ago. My pediatric endocrinologist was a savior. He was such a huge part of my life, and he did the best that he could with the resources that he had. And as I got older and I recognized, that my detrimental behaviors were because of, me being severely unhappy and just depressed about having diabetes, I recognized that it's really important to speak out about it and to talk about these things and to let parents know that these things are going on and to seek help. To genuinely to seek help. Let people know that you're feeling this way. Family, friends, talk about it. Because sometimes we're scared that people will say like, hey, you just have it. It's something that you have to deal with. People have said that to me. People have said that to me plenty of times. And you get afraid of that and you kind of just shut off, or you feel like nobody understands and nobody's going to understand. Well, all you have to do is take care of yourself and these things won't happen, or all you have to do. And it's just like, there's so much more behind it than that. And we get what we have to do. We've heard the story. You'll lose a limb. You're going to go blind. You're going to be dead by 25. We've heard it, y'all. You can kill that. We've heard it. Clearly, there's something way deeper behind this issue than people realize. And I feel like addressing the mental health component of, diagnosis and chronic illnesses and just things that are health related is so important. It's so monumental in the care and just the overall, just the whole holistic picture of taking care of yourself. It's so important. And that is how I got into the health field. That is actually my spiel on how I got into the health field. And so, of course, nothing goes undone. I didn't do what I was supposed to do as a teenager. And yes, my doctor was right. Those complications do come. At 23, I was diagnosed with gastroparesis. Gastroparesis is I don't want to call it a disease. It's a complication where the nerves in your stomach lining are damaged. And so the nerves in your stomach lining are damaged and you have the inability to digest foods. The vagus nerve digests your food into your small intestine, which moves it into your bowel for you to be able to, pass food. I damaged those nerves with erratic and high blood sugars consistently over time due to not taking my sugar, all the things I just told you guys about. And so I got diagnosed with that at 23, like I said. This is my sophomore year in college. And it was tragic. Gastroparesis was hell from then. So the symptoms are nausea, vomiting, of course, severe stomach pain, like unbearable stomach pain, dehydration, so when I was in the midst of a flare-up, oftentimes I would have to be hospitalized. So I'm going to give you a rough estimate about, you're going to be hospitalized maybe, let's say, a couple days out of a month. Those are days that you're missing of work, days that you're missing of school, days that you're missing of life, And these flare-ups were happening consistently every month. Every month I'm doubled over, just vomiting and not being able to pass food fermenting, in and out of the hospital, people telling me things that aren't working for me, giving medicine that isn't working for me. And with gastroparesis, it's really hard because it's a trial and error thing. It's a case-by-case basis. Different things work for different people. And it takes a while for you to figure out what works for you. And it was frustrating. It was depressing. I'm losing sleep. I'm missing out on life, These are affecting my grades. These things are affecting my job. Yes, I have lost jobs because of this complication. And this is the life of my health, and all of this is going on, and it's a struggle. And now you can imagine how I feel dealing with that. Now I'm dealing with the grief and guilt that I caused this. This is a complication that I caused from not taking care of myself. So of course, everything is coming back about everybody that said, oh, you're not taking care of yourself. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. This is going to happen. So now I'm struggling with that. So, I mean, it is just like, you can't win. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't win. And then I'm like, do I even have the right to be mad because I did this to myself? You know? Gastroparesis doesn't just come to people. Well, actually, it does. Sometimes people that don't have diabetes get it, and sometimes it's viral, you know. But I caused this, and so I had to deal with that. So gastroparesis was a problem for a long time. I recently really got my diabetes under super tight control after 23 years, y'all. 23 years, super tight control. I've been eating well. I love to cook, so, you know, I really have tried to be better with eating what I cook and being as healthy as possible. And that has made, you know, it's helped me make a change with my gastroparesis. I'm learning what works for me, what doesn't work for me after years. And kind of no thanks to the doctor, by a lot of trial and error in my own personal research, which is a very important factor if you have health issues, to do your own research outside of what your doctor tells you. Sorry for rambling, but yeah, so back on track. So now I'm dealing with the diabetes thing. I kind of progressed past that. I'm trying to take care of myself. Then bam, gastroparesis happens. Okay, so I'm like, now I got a new thing. Now I got to figure out how this works. I got to figure out how to deal with this. So gastroparesis was a problem for a long time in my life, and I'm talking about, like I said, multiple hospitalizations, multiple issues. I'm losing jobs. I'm missing out on class. The real issues. So as things are happening with the health in my life, my mental health, it is deteriorating. And I try my best to, you know, be positive. You know, I'm sure a lot of people that know me are like, oh, Kayla's always speaking into existence, be positive, be positive. Yeah, a lot of that was because I had to be. Like, I had to force that. I had to force it because a lot of times I'm like, yo, I don't even feel this way, but you got to fake it into existence sometimes. Like, you know, I was really down. I was really blue. I was really in a dark place when it came to health, and it just really impacted me. Like, my physical health and just having these problems, I felt helpless a lot of times. I felt hopeless. Like, is this going to get better? You know, like, at what point is this going to get better for me? Is this going to change for me? And so I'm just reinforcing the fact that it is so important for us when we are diagnosed with anything to make sure that we are considering our mental health and that we are talking to people. We are letting people know how we feel, that we're being transparent. That we're being transparent and seeking help when we need it. You know, seeking help. It's so important. People can't read our minds. People don't know that we're, you know, what we're feeling or how we're feeling or what we're going through. And it's so important for us to seek help. Last one. So you couldn't believe I would have any more health problems, but I do. So the last one, which is, it amazingly is not even my, like, a real issue for me. Well, it is, but it hasn't caused me as much grief as the other two. So in 2017, I was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia. And so God is so good, because the multiple hospitalizations from the gastroparesis is actually what led to them finding that diagnosis. I had a super high white blood cell count. They didn't understand why. I didn't have any infections. They couldn't find any issues. And so finally, VCU, they wanted to run some other tests. They're a research hospital. They were like, hey, this looks like something. We don't want to scare you, you know. We want to see what it is. I was like, okay, cool, run the test. Let me know. They ran the test, and yeah. They called me. They were like, hey, we want you to come in. We want you to come in. I was like, for what? Like, tell me what it is. So finally, they're like, oh, we're not going to tell you over the phone. We just want you to come in. We want to talk to you. I'm like, yo, no. It's probably nothing even that deep. Or maybe it is. But I was like, if you can't tell me over the phone, like, it is what it is. So finally, they called and they were like, hey, this looks like leukemia. We want to do a bone marrow biopsy and see if it is that. And after my biopsy, it was indeed that. And so the reason why I said God is so good is because, like I said, due to my many hospitalizations from the gastroparesis is why they found it. And they found it so early that I was very fortunate enough to do a, pill form of chemotherapy. So my chemotherapy, it has terrible side effects, absolutely. I try to skip out on those by taking it before I go to sleep, so I don't feel them, I just go to sleep. So yeah, that's my little out on that. But yeah, so I want to just wrap all this up to say it is so important. I started out this talking to my diabetics, but I'm talking to anybody that has anything. If you got cancer, if you have sickle cell, if you have diabetes, if you have any reoccurring issues, any health issues, it's so important for you to take care of yourself mentally and physically. Guys, mentally and physically, I want to put an emphasis on one health. Physically, if we feel great, we mentally feel great. That's not always the case, absolutely not, but it's an important factor in it as well. It is such an important factor, and I want us to take care of ourselves. I want us to really pay attention to how we're feeling, like I said, and talk to people and just let people know. Be transparent. If you're having a bad day, if you're having a bad week, if you're having a bad month, call your friends, call your family, get a therapist to talk about it. Tell your doctor that you're feeling down. This stuff is so important. Like, the mind is the most powerful thing that you have control of, and it has the ability to manifest. And a lot of times, I'll speak for myself. A lot of times I have manifested some really bad health, some really bad health practices, and those manifest in my body physically. And I just want the phenomenon of that I want you guys to know that I recognize you, I see you, I have been there, and I am proactively working to take myself out of that space, and I want us all to be doing that. Like I said, no matter what you have, no matter what's going on, like, I want us all to proactively be working towards one health and being better, mentally and physically. And that's my spiel. That is my spiel. I didn't want to be too heavy, but I really had to get this off my chest, and I want this to be a conversation in our communities, and I just want everybody to feel better. I want us to be better. I want us to be working proactively towards being the best that we can in this lifetime. We literally only get one, and I want the best for us all. And I thank you guys for watching. I'll definitely be back and elaborate on a lot of this stuff. I wanted to be concise in this episode. I didn't want to start rambling. So if you guys do have any questions, or if you feel like there was something that I talked about and I didn't touch on enough for you, I can absolutely, elaborate. Like I said, I didn't want to make this like a 40-minute episode. I know people's attention spans are terrible. Mine is. So I try to make them short and sweet. But I really felt the need to talk about this and to get it out and to know that I'm here and I feel you. You feel me? I feel you and I see you and I am you. You feel me? I get it. And we're all proactively working together towards just being better. And I'm here for you guys. And I thank you guys for tuning in. And I can't wait till my next episode.